Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This is March of the Machine the Aftermath release week, and the market slowed down quite a bit compared to last week, which is typical when a new set comes out. Now remember, because the set just came out on Friday, we're not going to be talking about cards from that set in this video. We need a baseline to see where the prices are going. Next week we'll start working those in, but there's still a lot of other cards to talk about. As always, we have a $2 threshold. We're not going to discuss a card unless it's moving up at least $2, and if you're curious to find out which cards are moving down at least $2, we did put out a series of shorts throughout the weekend. All that information is there. Quickly before we get started though, just a couple things. First, I do want to say thank you to 4 of the viewers who gave Super Thanks tips last week. Alpal8319, Todd Branch, Venom, and Whip. Thank you for those Super Thanks tips. Thank you for your generosity. It helps the channel a ton. And I couldn't do it without viewers like yourself. I really appreciate it. So thank you again to the 4 of you. And also one more thing. Remember, if you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pick up March of the Machine, the Aftermath products there, and you can pre-order Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth products too. They have everything you see on the screen, as well as the bundles and the gift bundles. Plus, they have a whole lot of other things on their website. Remember, if your order's over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. Also, whenever you use the Heroes promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated, so thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll begin with the Standard Legal Spotlight, where we look at the Standard Legal cards moving the most this week. 2 of them to talk about. Here's the first. Chandra Hope's Beacon. This is up 263 this week to 699, and this card was seen in 5 of the top 8 standard decks at Pro Tour March of the Machine last week, including the winning Rakdos midrange deck. Actually, 4 of those decks were Rakdos midrange, the other one was Rakdos Reanimator. Aside from that, this is also found at times in Grixis midrange in the format. In Pioneer, it's now found in Izzet Control. Plus, it's already in a number of Commander builds, old and new, including some around March of the Machine cards like Urabrask / The Great Work, Quintorius Loremaster, and Omnith Locus of All. And the last card in this section is Breach, the Multiverse, up 291 this week to 413. There has been a lot of spec talk about this card for a while now on MTG Finance Reddit, but it gained more attention at the Pro Tour last week. It was in the Orzhov midrange deck that made the top 8. MTG Goldfish also featured an Against the Odds standard deck built around this card last week, which brought attention to this as well. Where it is seeing the most play though is Commander, where it's already showing up again in lots of builds old and new, including Hidetsugu and Kairi, as well as Sheoldred / The True Scriptures. Both of those cards are also for March of the Machine, and many are using this to upgrade the new Commander deck Growing Threat as well. Others are putting in fresh builds around the front-facing Commander from there, Burma's Blight of Oreskos. Surprisingly, no Pioneer Legal Spotlight this week. That's been a hot format. We've talked about a lot of Pioneer cards recently, but on to the Modern Legal Spotlight. Let's see what's happening here. Doubling Season from Modern Masters, up 210 this week to 9283. Okay, so this is a very popular card in Commander. It's in lots of builds, like Atraxopraetor's Voice, for example. And you know by now, whenever a new set comes out, it brings plenty of cards that play well with Doubling Season. March of the Machine, the Aftermath just came out. And right on its heels, we're going to have Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth, Commander Masters, Wilds of Eldraine, the Doctor Who Commander decks and collector boosters, the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. So there's going to be plenty of new cards that will play well with this one, no doubt. The only question is, does this get reprinted somewhere along the line? Maybe in Commander Masters, maybe in a Secret Lair, who knows? Worth pointing out too that recently this did see a little increase in Commander plays and upgrade to the new Call for Backup Commander deck. And many are using it in fresh builds around a card from there, Shalai and Halar. Plus, this was discussed on a Nitpicking Nerds episode this week, which might have brought a little more attention to it as well. Avacyn Angel of Hope, the Double Masters copy, goes up 268 this week to 5709. This is a fairly popular commander, and it's in the 99 in many builds there too, including Kali of the Vast and Giada Font of Hope. This is also in commander builds around a couple new cards from March of the Machine, Dejuru and Hazaret, as well as Omnith Locus of All. The first sliver from Modern Horizons, and you know it won't be the last. It goes up $3 and a cent to $27.92 this week. This is a popular sliver commander, and in the 99 of other sliver builds there too. Several slivers have been reprinted as the surprise cards that came from Secret Lairs over the last few drops. including the most recent one, which is getting into players' hands now. That alone has kept slivers on top of mind for a lot of people recently, but there's another big reason this is moving right now. Just a little over a week ago, they previewed the front-facing commander for the upcoming Commander Masters deck called Sliver Swarm, and let's take a look at it. Here is Sliver Grave Mother. The card seems pretty sweet, and assuming the first Sliver isn't reprinted in that product or somewhere else, it might jump again as we get closer to Commander Masters. And our last card in the Modern section is one that was hot last week too, Gemstone Caverns. Time Spiral Remastered is up $3.25 to $60.48. The copy from the list is up $3.25 to $70.21, and the original Time Spiral copy is up $9.38 to $69.42. Like I said last week, this continues to see more and more modern play. It's in the popular Crashing Footfalls builds, and you see this in Hardened Scales and much more there. Legacy, it's in Temur Cascade, and at times you see this in Vintage Monoweight Initiative sideboards too. So this card is starting to spill out into those formats as well. As far as Commander goes, it's always been in a variety of builds there, and now at times it's starting to show up in a build around a new card for March of the Machine, Atali Primal Conqueror / Atali Primal Sickness. That quickly takes us to the Eternal Spotlight, my favorite part of the video every week, our salute to all Eternal formats, but mostly Commander. Now, obviously, not every card in this section is going to be legal in every Eternal format, but none of these cards are legal in Standard, Pioneer, or Modern. The Red Terror is first. It goes up 203 this week to $12.49. This is from the Warhammer 40k Tyranid Swarm Commander deck, and it was pushed not too long ago in that format by a card from Phyrexia All Will Be One called All Will Be One. But now it's moving because it is another good upgrade to call for backup, and it's also a new deck list around Shalai and Halar from there. Just like All Will Be One, the Red Terror combos directly with Shalai and Halar. Vault of Champions up 203 to $17.11. This whole cycle gets a good amount of Commander play, and this week we see this particular one creeping up. It gives the right colors to be a great upgrade to a couple of the March of the Machine Commander decks, Cavalry Charge and Growing Threat. It's also seeing a lot of play in fresh Commander builds around Sidar Jabari of Zhalfir from Cavalry Charge and Burmaz Blight of Oreskos from Growing Threat. Plus you're seeing this in Commander builds around a card from the main set too, Thalia and the Gitrog Monster. Grim Monolith is next. It goes up $205 this week to $279.99. This is in Legacy Mystic Forge combo and Colorless Cloudpost. In Vintage you see this in Paradoxical Outcome. It is also a solid Commander card in a lot of different builds. And in case you're wondering, that foil copy from Urza's Legacy, which is the only foil, is still very hot as well. Let's take a look at it. Now this week it's jumping up $237.74 to $3,449.99. However, it is worth noting that more high-grade copies are for sale right now, which is what's making this price migrate in this direction. If more lower-grade copies are introduced and begin to sell, this could start to shift back down in price. Obviously, these are really hard to find in high grade. Norn's Choirmaster up $217 to $13.79. This is from the Phyrexia All Be One Corrupting Influence Commander deck, and it does support the new Incubate mechanic from March of the Machine, but it's been seeing Commander play ever since it came out. Immediately, it was slotted into a Traxa Praetor's Voice, for example, but now March of the Machine cards are causing this to get even more play in the format. It is a great upgrade to Growing Threat. It's in fresh builds around Burmaz Blight of Oreskos. Plus, I'm seeing this in Commander builds around a card from the main set, Elish Norn / the Argent Etchings. Sky Hunter Strike Force is next up, $222 to $528. This is one of the Phyrexia All Be One Eternal cards, and it has been seeing a good amount of Commander play ever since it came out. It is a cat and a knight after all. It was in builds like Ren and Ciri Inseparable and Isshin Two Heavens as one, but now it's seeing even more Commander play thanks to March of the Machine. The Knight Tribal Commander deck Cavalry Charge has been extremely popular, and this is a great upgrade for the deck. In fact, the Command Zone podcast's upgrade video for that deck just came out, and they mention this card in it. Beyond that, it's also used in fresh builds around the front-facing Commander from there, Sidar Jabari of Zhalfir. And to a lesser degree, I'm seeing this in Commander builds around a card from the main set, Errant and Giada. Min Wily Illusionist, up $3.06 to $5.37. This is from the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms Dungeons of Death Commander deck, and it has been a fairly popular Commander and in the 99 of a number of builds there. But now, you guessed it, it is seeing more Commander play because of March of the Machine. It is in new Commander builds around Zimone and Dina, and to a lesser degree around Rona Herald of Invasion / Rona Talarian Obliterator, Inga and Isika, as well as Borborygamos and Fibblethip. Brazen Cannonade up 334 this week to 859. This has seen some commander playing a few different builds like Feldorn Dreadwolf Herald, for example. The card can lead to a lot of damage for sure, but it has flown under the radar since it came out. Last week, however, it was featured in a Nitpicky Nerds video about commander cards most worth buying, and that may have brought some attention to it. Benny Brax Zoologist up 350 this week to 2480. This was one of the Streets of New Capenna Eternal cards. It is getting an increased amount of commander play now due to, March of the Machine. It is a good upgrade to the new Divine Convocation commander deck, and it's in fresh builds around a couple cards from there. Casel of the Broken Halo, as well as Saint Traft and Rem Carolus. Plus, it is in commander builds around cards from the main set too, Elish Norn / the Argent Etchings, as well as Galta and Maverin. Additionally, this may see play in builds around one of the March of the Machine The Aftermath cards as well, Rocco Street Chef. Dockside Extortionist, that Double Masters 2022 copy is going up again. It goes up 372 this week to $69.99. You know this is a huge commander card in many builds. Basically, if you're playing red in commander, you probably want this. And yes, it's in a lot of popular new builds too. Many are getting this to upgrade the new commander deck Tinker Time, or to put it in fresh builds around Rashmi and Ragavan from there. This is also in commander decks around a March of the Machine Eternal card, Slimefoot and Squee, and in builds around cards from the main set like Atali Primal Conqueror / Atali Primal Sickness and Urabrask / The Great Work. Beyond that, this was also in a Breya Ethereum Shaper commander deck on the latest Shuffle Up and Play episode on Tolarian Community College. Again, just could have brought some ice to the card this week. Passionate Archaeologist. This is the regular foil copy from the Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate Exit from Exile commander deck, and it is up $4.87 this week to $11.77. It is another card seeing a boost in commander play because of new cards. First, it was appearing in new commander deck lists around a card from the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves Secret Lair, Edgin Larcenous Lutenist. Now it's in new builds there around cards, of course, from March of the Machine, Atali Primal Conqueror / Atali Primal Sickness, and to a lesser degree, Quintorius Loremaster, as well as Dejuru and Hezeret. And this is a good upgrade to the Tinker Time deck as well, plus it's in fresh builds around Rashmi and Ragavan from there. There is more to this card though too. Last week on the Command Zone podcast, they mentioned a couple cards from March of the Machine you might want to play with this. Hoarding Broodlord and Invasion of Keldheim / Pyre of the World Tree. Additionally, this is getting a push from a couple new March of the Machine The Aftermath cards too. Plarg and Nasari, as well as Rocco Street Chef. Oran Frostfang, the copy from the list, goes up $4.99 to $34.99. This is in a number of commander builds like Finn the Fangbearer, for example, but now it is in builds around a new card, Galta and Maverin. Sliver Queen up $9.33 to $349.99. This reserve list legendary Sliver is hot again. It is a good Sliver commander. It's in the 99 of Sliver builds there too. And of course, this is hot now because of the upcoming Commander Masters commander deck Sliver Swarm and Sliver Grave Mother, which we looked at earlier. And like I said too, the surprise Sliver reprints that have been coming with Secret Lairs, they have helped to keep this card in the front of players' minds for a while now. Bayou from Revised. This goes up $12.11 this week to $446.67, like we've been saying every week. The revised dual lands have been turbulent ever since the 30th anniversary edition announcement. This is the only one jumping this week. A number of others are moving down quite a bit as they struggle to find their new price point. Eventually, everything's going to even out. We'll just have to see where that lands. As far as gameplay goes, though, of course, these are highly played in all the formats where they're legal. And our last card today is a premium card, which I just wanted to talk about because we did mention it last week and it has moved up again this week. This is the From the Vault Relics copy of Mox Diamond. It is up $43.55 to $884.44. The Stronghold copy is stable this week. Now when it comes to this expensive variation of the card, a lot of collectors are interested in it, maybe more so than players. But as you know, the card does see play in Legacy, it's in lands, as well as Naya and Golgari Depths. It also shows up in a variety of commander decks, including a new one, Atali Primal Conqueror / Atali Primal Sickness. And it does get pre-modern play as well. That format has had a bigger impact on prices recently. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. A little shorter this week. Last week we had a really long one. But like I said, whenever a new set comes out, a lot of people's attention and resources move towards that new set and cards from it. So the rest of the secondary market typically gets a little bit of a break. Until next time, though, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.